Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is JD. Uh,
Hello.
I think one of the things that we were going to talk about today was kind of a follow-up from ToyFair this week. Lot of lot of interesting announcements. I think one of the most continually disappointing things is the price of Star Wars vehicles over the last couple of years.
And they're not even unreasonable. They've passed unreasonable. They're just price gouging now. The little vintage collection, ATRT, the all terrain recon transport that we saw in the Clone Wars that will now be in the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah,
$67.
$67 for a
It's this big
like
with
five
a
inch.
figure that's this big, and it's 67 fucking dollars. The other day when I was in GameStop, they had Luke Skywalker's Tatooine land speeder, and I had to take a picture of it to send a picture to send to Brian so he would believe. $85 for a fucking land speeder that includes the 15th or 19th version of Tatooine Luke that they've released since 1995. $85. I am so glad that I'm not in the market to buy one because holy shit.
Yeah, I'm passing up the Darth Vader TIE Fighter. TIE Fighters are my favorite, like variant TIE Fighters are my favorite vehicle to
But
collect.
at $140, no.
140. I got the E-Wing for Christmas, not 2025 Christmas, but 2024. And there is no way I would have bought that myself. It was $100.
And to think that seemed unreasonable then. And now that just seems, I don't know,
Let's
expected.
yeah, yeah.
There's I can't $84 for the fucking land speeder. Remember remember back in like 2020 the when the Rogue One Imperial tank was like
Yes.
80 bucks,
Yeah,
and we were bitching about why is that 80 bucks, and then you ended up getting one because it was on discount someplace for
I did.
like 20 bucks off.
I think I
That
paid $60 for it.
that same tank, if that was released right now, even if it was a re-release or a repaint of the previous one, they
120.
would, huh?
I would bet it would be $120.
Easily. You know what? Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, his TIE X1, which is honestly over the years has really only had a few releases.
Yeah.
They had one in the vintage line in the original Kenner line. They had one for the Power of the Force 2 in 1996, I think it was released.
Yeah.
And I think it's had two releases since then, not including the new one. And while the new one is all new,
It is.
I don't even if it had museum quality sculpting and paint and uh, intricate details, it's a 4-inch scale vehicle that still wouldn't be worth 140. But and that I just I can't. Not that the Black Series is any more reasonable, because honestly, the Black Series of Star Wars and Marvel Legends and GI Joe, they're all up to about 28 or 30 bucks each.
Yeah.
But the vintage collection of Star Wars, I swear to God, they're bumping up those prices. They're nudging those prices up every year,
Yeah.
even more so than they do for the Black Series. And the Black Series only has figures, doesn't have vehicles to go with it. But I don't, even if like there, all right, let's say Mandalorian and Grogu was going to have a Black Series scale ATRT. If the regular one is $67,
I can
the Black
imagine.
Series one would probably be 120.
Yeah. Easy.
But even then, I don't I don't understand. I just what I am so glad that I am so picky and choosy with the Star Wars line because
Yeah,
I don't think I bought the Black Series figure yet this year. I've gotten a couple that I've thought about getting. Uh the only ones I really have bought, uh well, let's see, I usually buy the Ewoks that come out. And honestly, I do want the new Black Series um AT-AT driver because it's an all new mold and it looks really good.
it does.
The vintage
I'm
collection
actually
one,
contemplating picking that one up.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's where we're that's the AT-AT driver is one of my all-time favorite figures from when I was a kid. Um, and I saw the Black Series one, and I'm like, ooh, as much as I absolutely hate buying 6-inch Star Wars figures of 4-inch figures that I want, I'm actually considering getting that AT-AT driver.
because it's only a couple bucks more than the vintage collection one.
Yeah, I am
And
getting the vintage collection, and I was going to mention that the announcements for uh ToyFair for Star Wars, aside from the overpriced vehicles, the Black Series, they've got, of course, the the Army Builders and Sigourney Weaver's character, and of course the Mandalorian for Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out, as well as the Black Series, or I'm sorry, vintage collections, pretty much the same figures. I don't know that I did see the Sigourney Weaver in 4-inch scale though.
I don't think so. I
I bet
don't think I
we
saw
will
one either.
eventually. I
Yeah.
bet we will.
Oh, guaranteed. And at some point, the Black Series version will probably the Black Series at least will probably come out with Sigourney Weaver in the New Republic, like the jacket, like the officer's uniform instead of the. I
I,
was honestly kind of hoping for that one first, just because that's how we've seen her in the trailers. We haven't. There is a behind the scenes photo of Sigourney Weaver on set in the X-wing pilot uniform, but we haven't seen her in the trailer like that. So I honestly thought they would start with the uniform version, but that's okay. At some point, they'll come out with her in the green jacket, and I'll probably get that one. I don't. Um, I get the X-wing one, except a couple of years ago, I missed out on Wedge and a couple and one of the few X-wing pilots that they have come out with. And honestly, I feel like the pilots, if I get one, I want to have all of them.
yeah,
And I did go back and check eBay for Wedge, and I'm like, I like Wedge, but you know what? I don't $45 like Wedge. So
yeah.
um,
That's the secondary market on stuff is just so unpredictable anymore.
it is. It's unpredictable because there are sellers that have things that are reasonable, and then there are things um there's you can find them slightly over markup, or they'll say free shipping, but it'll basically be the price of the thing plus whatever the shipping would be. But then you've got the sellers that have a Black Series figure that's listed for 70 or $80. I'm like, are you kidding me? Half the time these things are still available on Amazon or a Big Bad.
Yeah,
Um,
get that.
and once you go a couple of years in the past to the secondary market, that's where I swear to God, you've got a lot of people that are just like, oh, it says Star Wars, probably worth something. Actually, it's just the opposite.
Yeah,
The last time Star Wars was truly valuable in like toy wise was was the early was the early in the vintage collection. The vintage collect nowadays, the only ones that are really the ones that are really expensive are the ones that were underproduced.
yeah,
Um, so you've had to be picky and choosy with the Star Wars line too. And boy, aren't you glad? Because holy shit.
yeah. That is. I stopped collecting for a while, quite honestly. And then I've gone back and I pretty much I keep it to like Mandalorian stuff. uh, Imperial Army Builders, and Sith. Those are pretty much the only ones that I pick up on a regular basis. Is any of the like troopers and pretty much any of the bad guys. Um, I very rarely pick up anything beyond that, and it's just too expensive. And at some point in time, I mean, I do plan on stop collecting Star Wars stuff because they don't put out the figures that I want. Um,
Um, I
there's
will say, I think the
so much
vintage
stuff.
collection, I think the vintage collection loyalists, I look at the selection of stuff they come out with for the and the stuff for the Black Series, and honestly, the vintage collection buyers must go out of their minds.
Oh, I
They're
do.
so
Yeah.
they're they bring out half the number of vintage collection figures that they do for Black Series, and when I swear to God, every other year it's a new Luke and a new Leia, and then a couple of other drips and drab figures. The coolest thing I've seen them advertise, and that I've seen the pictures from, is the 4 inch, the vintage collection Cantina 4 pack that's coming out.
I have zero
Um,
interest in that.
I mean, well, you don't, but I think, but as a guy who likes to see the variety in the line, that's the kind of stuff that I like seeing because personally, there's two uh Cantina patrons that the last time they got figures was before there was articulation in the line. So those are all new.
Yeah.
And then the other two are characters that have never been given figures before. There's Chalman the Wookiee, who was the off-screen owner of the Mos Eisley Cantina. The only visual for him is a Ralph McQuarrie production painting.
Yep.
And so that's the only visual reference for him. So it's amazing to see a figure of
Yeah.
Chalman. And then the other one is Arlia Schral, the Deathful mercenary that's seen in the cantina, who was part of the Kickstarter for the Mos Eisley Cantina
Yeah.
a couple years ago, but he was the last. Uh,
Tier.
yeah, he was the last. The last. Um, the bonus, and he didn't unlock
Right.
everything up to him unlocked. And there was a lot of speculation then that they were probably already sculpting him, so they'd probably find some other way, and they did. Now he's in part of that 4 pack, and I think it's really cool. But it's one of the few times where I'm like, damn it, I wish there was a Black Series version of this because I want a Chalman because I've got a couple of other Wookiees, but I'm just I'm not going to buy the 4 inch version because, well, Chalman will look like a Wookiee kid next to my other Wookiees. Come on now, that's what I have Ewoks for. But they've done so. Every once in a while, they do something really impressive with the vintage collection, and then all the rest of it, I swear to God, they're either figures that the Black Series already got last year, or
Yep.
they're redone versions of stuff that they've given us many, many times. And I don't understand how the completists and the collect really how does it keep your interest if they just keep putting these kind of weak sauce releases out?
And
I don't know.
nothing that I don't do much toy hunting at stores anymore. Just there's no point in it.
No, there's not. There's the stores here, they have nothing. So I
I
look when I go in the store, but I no
Yeah.
longer go to the store to look at the toys. I look at the toys when I'm already there.
And
Um,
the Star Wars stuff, it doesn't sell.
no, no, it doesn't. The Star Wars stuff that I've seen here, um, the the vintage collection stuff is stacked on the Walmart pegs like this. I swear they've got more figures hanging on the pegs than the pegs actually have length. I don't know how they've managed to stuff that many figures, but they're not moving. The Black Series figures are not moving. and then the rest of the shelf has nothing but Marvel and other random shit under there. They don't even have any of the big Star Wars stuff anymore.
No, and
And
I don't even I was putting in my customs up on the wall and I finished doing the Star Wars stuff yesterday. And I ended up putting up a specific number of shelves because I thought I had a specific number of customs and I had one shelf extra and I'm like, you know what? That shelf is never going to get filled with customs because I've made two Star Wars customs probably in the last 2 or 3 years. And when you consider that I make between 50 and 70 customs a year, that's a lot of customs that I'm not making of Star Wars stuff anymore.
and if I'm not mistaken, weren't the last two you made those charity ones for that convention?
That didn't end up working out because they didn't end up having the thing for the convention. So I didn't end up making those figures.
Okay, so what were the last two that you made? Because
I
yeah, you
made,
used to make a lot of Star Wars,
I
but
did. I made the uh stealth suit Luke Skywalker from the
oh, that's right, from the comic
pack.
pack. Yeah, that's right.
I made a better version of that because the one that we got was so underscaled, it was pitiful. And then I'm based on some fan art that I saw a couple years ago, I made an Imperial Medic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
So
like like camo pant leg, like cloth lowers, and then a armored upper. And I based it off some fan art that I found on the internet. So, but I did
so really,
3 years ago, I think.
yeah, because there was a time when you would buy the ever all the troopers on the pick at the store, and half of them you'd customize. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a long time ago. This is not recent history, but you used it because they were more reasonably priced,
Yes.
and not everything was as uncertain as it is these days. But when you consider how much you've cut back with Star Wars in the last few years, you really do you really see yourself making any more Star Wars aside of those? So that shelf, are you just going to dedicate it to something else?
Yeah, I ended up taking down the extra shelf and I'm gonna put it somewhere else and put something other stuff on it. So yeah, I'm like there and I guess I take that back. I did do two customs of based on fan art of Pee Wee Herman in Star Wars get up Star Wars costumes when he died a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
When Julian was here, I ended up buying the actually I think he got it for me. He got bought the um speeder bike in speeder bike trooper set at GameStop, and I ended up repainting that in the color scheme of Pee Wee Herman's bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and then did a custom of him in uh, scout bike, scout trooper attire. And then I did when the new Luke Skywalker and X-Wing gear came out. I've been waiting for that figure for a long time. I did Pee Wee Herman in X-Wing fighter gear.
Yeah, I remember those now.
Yeah.
At the time, that vintage that vintage collection trooper with the speeder bike, that was probably $40 that. I
It
mean,
was.
because they're the
It's
last
been
time I
well.
saw one of those come out, I think it was like 50. I saw that I think GameStop and they
Yeah,
had
that's where we got it.
yeah, there was the trooper with Grogu in the little bag and the bike, and it was like 50. And I'm like, nope, I remember paying $20 for the speeder bikes back in the Power of the Force 2 days.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
paid forty
that was a
dollars.
long time ago, but
Julie, uh, Julie was here for my birthday, so I think he got it for my birthday.
yeah. So I just I don't know. It's even when even when my kids and I go into GameStop just to look and see what's there for toys, what I always make the joke, all right, let's go in and see what we don't find. Because we almost always walk out having not found anything that
And GameStop seems to be the better place to go compared to Target and Walmart. I don't even go into Target anymore.
the only places I GameStop is the only place where I've seen wetsuit, mainframe, um, and sci-fi in stock anywhere. Like, I mean, uh, I bought wetsuit off Amazon, but that GameStop is the only store I've actually seen them in because um, the only GI Joe they have right now at Target is two of the retro Flints and the retro Televiper. So,
I did stop at Walmart on the way home from work the other day because I had seen that on in the Facebook groups that they have put up an end cap display and have like Hit and Run and Lifeline and Night Viper. Uh,
uh,
so I went into the Walmart close to my work because the scalpers don't know about that one and they don't hit that one at all. That's where I got my Ghost Viper packs and my Crystal Ball. Um, and they have taken down that big display.
yeah.
It's gone. And then I couldn't find the end cap one. If they had one, I don't, because I'd seen that a couple of people had said they had found it in like the craft aisle, and then I'd seen a couple people say they'd found it in the toy aisle, and then I'd seen a couple people say they'd found it just in a random spot. And I was not going to go up and down every aisle in Walmart after working well, more than a 48-hour shift because I got held over. Um, I was and did got about 2 hours of sleep. So I was like, yeah, I'm too tired to walk up and down every aisle to look for it because I was going to pick up a Night Viper. I have Night Vipers in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store, but I only ship that about every 3 months, and it's still probably 2 or 3 weeks before I'm going to ship it.
Oh, speaking of Night Viper, I got my Night Viper from Big Lob the other day or last week, and I still haven't opened them. I only opened the box today, so I can unbox those after if you want.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you got the Night Viper and it's absolutely killing me not to have one. Um, because it's my all-time favorite GI Joe figure ever. But it's like, you know what? I've got a few of them sitting in my pile of loot. I'll wait.
um,
I mean, that's kind of where my enthusiasm is for stuff these days. Is it's just like this is my favorite figure ever, and it's finally out. I've been waiting 5 years for this, and it's like, I can wait a couple more weeks.
I think I am approaching burnout with buying stuff. Um, between the prices and the availability, and sometimes I look at the amount of stuff I have, and I don't have nearly as much stuff as I see pictures of people have, and I'm just like, I think I still have too much stuff, and I just other than the Marvel Legends stuff that I buy because Blake and I are now sharing that hobby.
Right.
Um, I'm not in a hurry to open this stuff. When I get it, sometimes I don't. I decided that maybe I'll save Night Viper and Big Lob to open on the show, which I probably will. I'll probably go get them, but I just I don't get excited about getting this stuff in the mail anymore. I don't know if it's right now. I don't know if it's temporary, but right now I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's like I pick up a few Marvel Legends figures. I pick up all the Iron Man stuff. Uh, I've and then just whatever catches my fancy. And then I saw that um, my last batch of Big Bad Toy Store stuff, they had the Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider on sale for like $30, and that's the figure and the motorcycle. I'm like, ooh, I
Can't pass that up.
I couldn't. It was like I think it was $30. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what I think I paid for the Black Widow with her motorcycle set, and that was the last thing I bought at Toys R Us before they closed. And
Damn,
I
that was a lot.
yeah, and I specifically bought that because I'm like, this will be the last thing I ever buy at a Toys R Us. I want to buy something special, something I wouldn't normally get. So that's what I ended up picking up. But then I saw that that the Johnny Blaze version is coming out, and it's like $100.
Jesus, is that the one with the red motorcycle?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
100
still
bucks.
a
That's
Ghost
nuts.
Rider. It's still a Ghost Rider with a motorcycle, and it's $100. I'm like, after I just bought the other one on clearance for 30, you think I'm going to pay $100 for the a different version of it? And
Well, I'll say this for the Marvel stuff. As much as the prices drive me nuts because they're akin to and the other 6-inch lines, and they tend to have deluxe figures that up the cost a lot. I found that a couple of the ones that I've gotten actually they're huge and they're somehow they feel like they're justified.
yeah,
Blake's favorite character is the Juggernaut, and so for a little while we were looking for we were trying to decide which Juggernaut he wants because he'll always look and see what available versions are, and he'll pick the one that he thinks is the best and say we want that one.
yeah.
And we ended up getting the Game Reverse Juggernaut because all the other Juggernauts were either build a figures or in 2 packs, and they're not easy. They're not easy to find. And even the Game Reverse one kept selling out on Amazon. I finally got one. Hang on.
And that's one thing I will say about the Gamerverse figures. I really do like the Gamerverse figures. There's a different kind of feel to the plastic. They feel like they were meant to be played with.
Yeah. I have to say, we've got about half the Game Reverse figures, and the Game Reverse War Machine that came with that Omega Red. That is Blake's favorite version War Machine. And I think it might be mine too. But
I was
he
not
loves the
impressed with
Omega
it.
Red we have. Um, Here is the Juggernaut,
Oh
the
yeah.
Game Reverse figure. Here he is next to Tony Stark.
Wow.
So, yep, there they are. Their feet are even, and he. So really, there is no denying that this is a huge chunk of plastic. And as much as I hated the price, I can't pretend that it wasn't worth it for this because I told Blake, if this thing ever falls off whatever you have it on display, don't be near it because you'll end up with a crush injury.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I swear to God, if you belted somebody with this in the head a few times, you would easily give them at least a concussion.
Yeah,
Um,
probably. I ended up picking up finally this is one of the things that just absolutely pisses me off is exclusives because you were talking about the Walmart that War Machine Omega Red was Walmart exclusive. That was not hard to find. The same time that was released, there was the Thanos and Psylocke that was exclusive to Target. JD saw it and picked it up and asked if I wanted it, and I did, but I don't know, $60 is a lot for because I pretty much just want the Psylocke figure, and I was like, I don't know, $60 is kind of a lot for just one figure, and then I'm like, nah, skip it, and then I changed my mind, and then it was gone.
yeah, so I put it down, and you changed your mind. And a couple of out, and I think the next day I went back because there had been 3 of them, and I went back just to see, and they were all
Yeah,
and we thought, well, that was it. That was your one and only chance to get it. And then, yeah, a couple weeks ago, Target put it back up on their site. And I sent you the link. And I'm like, make sure you don't miss, and you got it.
I
But
did.
you may never see that set again. Um,
I did order it and it got here like within the next day, I think. They shipped they like sent somebody out and delivered it to the house. So it got here really quick and I I'm still kind of still kind of regretting spending that much money for that figure. The Thanos is nice. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't need another Thanos figure.
Well,
And the
if
Cyber
you want to let it go, we'll take it because Blake has decided that Thanos being one of the main villains, Marvel, that's one of the ones that he wants to have. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I'll keep it in
Um,
mind, but right now I'm hanging on to it. It's
I
how expensive it was. It's like I don't.
oh, I get that. Um, but yeah, so really, I guess I'm kind of burnt out on buying stuff for myself, but I'm a little more I'm more enthusiastic towards buying stuff, Marvel stuff, because he and I are both kind of sharing in that. It is funny. There are characters that because I used to pick and choose the Marvel figures I would buy. I'd usually find an affordable version of the characters I really liked and just buy those just so I had them in the collection. I didn't used to get hung up on which version I actually wanted to buy. I would usually let the price dictate it, but lately some of the figures that I did buy um, at the time because they were I'm looking and I'm like, oh, man, this is an inferior version of this character. So I'm like, all right, like the Magneto we have sucks. It's the Age of Apocalypse version. I got it at Ollie's. It was cheap. And I thought, well, that'll fill the Magneto hole in my. But honestly, not a great figure. All the other Marvel, all the other Magneto figures, not great figures. The best one we found is the X-Men '97 version.
Yeah,
There's actually two. There's two Magnetos in the X-Men '97 collection. One of them is the one in the purple cape with the sleeveless tunic that has the big M on it, which was in the X-Men '97 series, but it originated in the Chris Claremont '80s Marvel comics. So Blake doesn't want that one, but the other one in the traditional purple and red, yeah, that one's like $50. I'm like, ugh. So really, they haven't done a great Magneto, and the ones they have done, basically, I think the expensive ones are the ones that people are agreeing. They're like, this is the best of the Magnetos got. He might be one of those characters that I have to look at foreign releases for. I personally, I've never thought to buy anything Mafex before, but that Mafex Magneto is really nice, but the price is really not.
yeah.
So probably not, but if I ever go to a convention and I can find a deal on it, yeah, okay, I probably will. Or if I find a deal on the 97 on the Hasbro 97 version, I might, but it's just amazing how many of these characters come out with multiple versions
Yeah,
and how many of them really just they're underwhelming somehow, some way.
yeah.
Um,
The only ones that I have not been disappointed with are the Gamerverse figures. Those are very nice.
I I didn't get the Captain America Venom set. I thought about it, but I don't know. We have a Captain America that Blake is fine with, and then I ended up getting the movie Venom for him for Christmas, and he was fine with that because but because he wasn't crazy about the blue Venom in the game reverse. I thought it was okay, but I understood where it was coming from.
I I ended up picking up that set myself.
Um, it's it's good. It's just I think the game reverse stuff really they need to keep making those because the
Yeah.
game reverse stuff and oh I like the Secret War subline too. Most of those they're pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna
That is what this Iron Man is. It's the Secret Wars version.
uh,
This is Blake's favorite Iron Man armor, and this is his favorite figure of it. Um, and I kind of like it too, although it didn't have um, although he made me buy the mullet Tony Stark head from one of the other Iron Man releases, so he could have an unmasked version because I was like, well, which Tony Stark head do you want? He's like the mullet version. I'm like, oh, the one from the deluxe set that we didn't want to buy. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna buy it. I got it on eBay all by itself.
I was gonna say
But
you probably get the head loose. I
um,
I have not. I do have that figure. I have not opened it, because I have one of the original Secret Wars Iron Man figures still on the card.
there you go.
So
Um,
I have the two of them together.
I, I will say though, the other cool thing that this figure came with, Secret Wars version. Firstly, the Secret Wars figures they come with the shield with the lenticular, just like the original Mattel Secret Wars figures in the '80s did. But they also come with the blasters, the dual barrel blasters that they came out with in the
Oh,
Secret Wars line. But this Iron Man also included a pair of red roller skates
mhm.
that went on the bottom of the boots. Now,
That was
it's been a
extreme.
long time since I read the Secret Wars comics. I don't remember the roller skates,
Oh, it was.
but I love that they included them with that figure.
I don't know that they were a. I don't know that because if it's Secret Wars, then it was not Tony Stark in that armor.
No, it was Rhodey.
Yeah.
But
So
and
no,
I think that's the reason why that figure doesn't have a removable
yeah.
helmet. But on the back of the card, the description says, um, he Iron Man is pulled into the other dimension for whatever that incursion was, and while hiding a secret about his identity.
Yeah.
So maybe it was Rhodey that wore the roller skates on the Iron
No,
Suit. I have
no,
no idea.
that's a pretty big. The roller skates were a very very big part of the of that armor throughout the history of the comics.
See, I haven't read enough issues of it, but I love that they included such a random choice. And the second series of Secret Wars figures were announced, and there's an Absorbing Man, which we
Yeah.
need because we don't have one. And there's Magic.
Daredevil. I was I was just
That
I've got it pulled up. Daredevil, Absorbing Man, Falcon, Magic, Constrictor, and then a Spider-Man with a symbiote attached on part.
I I I don't need Magic, but I like that figure. I the only one I'm not buying is the symbiote Spider-Man. I get what they're going for, but after the first series of Secret Wars figures had the symbiote Spider-Man, they don't need the red and blue one that also has the symbiote attached to him. They've
Yeah.
never made a Spider-Man like it, and I get what they're going for, but it just seems I
Extreme.
think they could have waited until the third or fourth wave of Secret Wars figures to put those out.
I think that's
But
like
like
I think that's like the fourth or fifth line of those actually.
um,
They've been going for a
maybe.
while.
But I honestly, yeah. So aside of the Marvel stuff that we're picking and choosing, I don't know this whole scale. A few years ago, there was a lack of custom fodder because there were only a few companies doing the 6-inch stuff, and now I'm looking at, and I don't know how people keep up with this shit. There's just so much volume of shit that's coming out
Yeah.
is staggering, and that's between all the toy lines, and that's just Hasbro we're talking about.
One of the things that I was going to mention b- before we get into like GI Joe stuff is that Super 7 is got the license for Visionaries, um, which was a toy line that came out about the same time as the vintage GI Joe stuff did, and was about the I'm pretty sure it was the same scale, um,
They
but
were 5-inch, they were 5-inch scale figures,
were
but
they?
they were built. They had the O-ring and the exact same
Yeah.
articulation as the 3 3/4 inch Joes. But Visionaries and Cops and Crooks were both 5-inch lines
Okay.
with compatible
See, I never did
articulation.
any of the visionary stuff, and that's probably why is it was not scaled. Uh,
Yeah,
but I remember it being smaller, but again, I didn't have any of it, and I didn't know anyone that did. I just remember seeing it in stores. Um,
I didn't know anybody who had it either. I was a sucker for the hologram
yeah,
technology that was on there, too, but I never had any of them.
uh, there. They did not, they just made the announcements. They did not show any renders or any mock-ups at Toy Fair. It's going to be two figures initially. There was a pre-order up at Entertainment Earth and they took it down.
Ah, okay.
So
But
nobody,
they are the Reaction Plus figures, right? So
that is
they've
my
got
understanding is that they are going to be Reaction Plus figures, um, which they weren't clear on scale, however, because if these if the original Visionaries were 5-inch figures with GI Joe articulation, there's nothing that says that these couldn't be the same thing. So nobody's sure what these look like or what scale that they are. Um, Speculation is that they will be 3 3/4 inch, comparable to the GI Joe Reaction Plus, as opposed to the Super Seven's Ultimate line, which is a 7-inch scale figure.
I, I feel like they're probably going to be the 3 3/4 inch Reaction Plus because
I
the
think,
Back to the Future figures are because there's the two Marty and the Doc Brown figures,
yeah.
and they're 3 3/4 inch scale. So I kind of assume the Visionaries will too, but like you said, I haven't seen any picture. It is cool that they got that license though. Um,
I will probably, since it's just two figures, I will probably pick those up.
I might pick them up. I've never had them before. The
I
other,
do.
oh yeah, there's another line that they're putting out Reaction Plus figures for, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't.
What?
Marcus posted something about them, but there's like robots, but they don't have real faces. They just
Oh,
have. Yeah, what is that? I can't remember.
shit. Hang on a sec. It's, oh, I can see it, but I can't. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I can't. Getting like the phone book for Dark when I type in Dark Horse.
Hang on.
I hate Facebook. All right,
Um,
let me switch to, there we go. Come on.
wait. I just look at this page. IDH Custom Toys.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Um, um,
He hasn't posted it in a while. At least it's not showing stuff.
he hasn't. I don't know. Where did I see that? Uh, they're more Micronauts figures.
Micronauts, that's it. Micronauts. Micronauts
Um,
was a huge line that didn't really, I don't know, it didn't take off here where I was. Um, I know it was big overseas, especially in Great Britain. Um, it had a, I want to say almost a cult following. There was a comic book that supported it. I think there was an animated series for it. I'm not 100% sure. I would almost guarantee that there probably was because that was kind of the trifecta of a successful toy line in the 80s, is to have a toy line and a comic and a animated series. Um, but it 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 didn't really, in my area. I never saw it in stores. So I
um,
didn't know about it until I was an adult collector, and I did see the comic book in the stores, but the cover art was never enough to make me pick up an issue and read it. Uh,
I was the same way with comics when I was a kid. If the cover was good, sometimes I'd read the comic even if I wasn't a regular reader.
yeah.
Um,
So I do remember the comic book from when I was a kid. Uh, but yeah, the Micronauts, ah,
as a line that I have zero context for, um, they've done this is the third series of Reaction Plus Micronauts figures. This one has two versions of what they call the Time Traveler. They're both there's a yellow one and a blue one. They're both translucent figures. Um,
Yeah,
but they've got silver heads. They look human, but they're all silver, so they don't have any. So I'm going to guess it's an android of some sort. And
yeah, I think so.
there's also the Emperor, the great ruler of all the Micronauts. He's all black with gold, like torso armor and a gold sword. He's badass looking. Again, I don't have any context for these guys, but I really
You
like
wanna,
this time traveler figure, and I might have to pick that up.
you want to see
Um,
really cool vehicles and play sets? Micronauts had some fantastic vehicles and play sets that came out with the original line that are super hard to find. I'm talking like Castle Eternia, Grail, hard to find
damn.
that are that you know it's a thing that exists, but you're probably never going to see it in person. And if you do, you're just going to be like, "Wow, there it is." Because I've seen the Eternia playset twice at two different conventions, but I couldn't count the number of times I've seen Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain. But I didn't even know Eternia was a thing until again, probably a couple of years ago.
A couple years ago, when Mattel did the crowdfunding
Yeah,
version of that, that was the first time I saw the Eternia playset because they had like the pictures of the vintage version, and I'm like, boy, I definitely never saw that when I was a kid, and I
yeah.
didn't know anybody who had that one when I was
Nope,
a kid.
I didn't either. I knew a few people that had some of the Masters of the Universe stuff. Knew somebody that had the Castle Grayskull. Knew somebody that had the Snake
I
Mountain.
had a Castle Grayskull. I never had a Snake Mountain. I wanted it. I never had it.
Yeah, and I never knew anything about the Eternia, and the fact that all three of them connect if you have the Eternia playset.
That's badass. I didn't even realize they did that. That's cool.
Yeah, all three of them. They can they. There's a feature with the Eternia playset that connects all three of them, and just to have some to connect three play sets of that scale, that's pretty fucking cool. Nobody else is, even GI Joe never did anything like that.
No, no, that's gotta be an awesome display.
Oh, I've never seen one. I think I've seen them put together like once.
I don't think I ever have. I didn't realize they did. So I'm gonna have to go looking for that photo because I'm curious
Yeah,
now.
it's pretty cool. Let's see, what else was I gonna mention? We talked about Transformers stuff. There's Transformers are super expensive too. I'm picking up the Combaticons as they come out. The pre-order for Onslaught is just came out a couple weeks ago, and it is $100 figure. And I'm like, if this was not my all-time favorite like of set of figures, I did not pick up the Constructicon Gestalt set. I did not pick up the Aerial Bot set. I just the price is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I will get the Sure Shot, even though I haven't, and it was on my wish list for a long time. I haven't gotten it yet. I will. I was hoping to find it in the store. I don't want to have to order it because I always forget. But um, I don't I don't know. Some of the this year they decided to put out all of the 13 primes, and
Yeah,
so all of those primes are getting fit, and some of them are fucking awesome looking, but they're not. The deluxe prices are more than I want to pay, and the Voyager series and the Voyager line figure are way more than I want to pay. So I'm not going to get any of them. But
yeah,
Onyx Prime, uh, Micronus Prime, uh, there's a couple of them. They look amazing.
they do.
Wish I had them. I wish I, but no, I got to prioritize buying other stuff.
Yeah. Even if I had the money, I'm like, I couldn't
Exactly.
justify
Even if
it.
I had it, I don't. There's only so much, and there's other stuff I got to get, and
Yeah.
Well, on the front of things that I don't have to pay money for because I'm simply exploring it to update the audience.
Hey, what's hang on a sec. I was gonna talk about G.I. Joe and then get into that.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, the Toy Fair stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's right. They revealed the mystery silhouette figure,
God damn
a
it.
character called Sundown, that everybody got excited. Oh, it's a cop's character. It is not a cop's character.
No.
There was a Cops and Crooks character named Sundown in the original Cops and Crooks line. This is not the same character. If it was the same character, he would have the same file name, even if he looked different. His file name is different.
Yeah.
They published they act for once they actually put file cards online. I don't
Yeah.
know why those same file cards can't be included with the figures, but now they have full file cards online for the classified series, and they are reusing a trademark like Hasbro has done with many other toy lines in many other eras of collecting. The Sundown uh, copyright is still active for, so they're using it. It is not the cop's character, and the amount of people that just don't get that, I'm a little baffled by, because if you read just a little bit, you'll realize that. So this is
It's
not the same character, but it is a brand new character for the Joe line. And I love when G.I. Joe gets new characters added to the line. And
and
he's
then
not even the only one, because we have a dinosaur trainer called Dr. Rockclaw that comes with a genetically engineered Deinonychus that he's trained to, I don't know, attack G.I. Joe or whatever. And I am all fucking in with this.
so
I
yeah,
swear to God,
I
whoever
have a
created
couple
that
of
figure,
questions about that.
what's that?
Oh, the first
Uh
the
oh.
sundown, I think that I saw that it's Headman's brother.
Headman killed his brother.
Headman killed his brother.
Um,
So that
yeah,
means we're going
Headman
to be
or
getting
no. I'm sorry, I take that back. Headman killed their father.
ah,
His twin brother is missing, but Headman, when he was running a drug cartel, says this when it says that he was running the drug operation. His brother went missing. Sundown is currently looking for his brother and serving with GI Joe as a way to get to him. Or he's a member of GI Joe, but he's in search of the missing brother, and of course he wants Headman. So the fact that they name dropped Headman tells me, oh shit, they're going to give us a classified Headman, and I love that.
and it's probably a headhunter stormtrooper, a
Thank you.
headhunter stormtrooper.
Yes. If I, there are lines in there are sublines within GI Joe that I didn't really expect to see a classified update. I was happy when they got around to the Ninja Force, but I was like, I don't know about the DEF. Would they really do the DEF? Apparently, I don't know if they're going to do the rest of I don't know if they're going to do the GI Joe DEF members, but the fact that they're doing Headman tells me that they're going to do the Headhunters, which tells me honestly they might consider doing some of the DEF, the Joe DEF, and whether they do or not is up to that's remains to be seen. But just the fact that we are going to get a classified Headman is interesting to me, and it does give me hope that we'll see a classified Bulletproof at some point because he's one of my favorite Joes. I love U.S. Marshals, and I love that the Joes had one. But I just love that the Joe line is giving us some new characters because they don't do
Yeah.
that very often.
No.
And I've seen some belly aching, because I wanted them to do other characters first. Well, you know what?
Yeah, that's
We
why I
can't
stopped
all
reading
get what the
comics.
fuck we want. And if they give us if they shove the rest of the updates that you want into the rest of this year, then they don't have the longevity for this line 4 or 5 more years. And I think that's what they're going for. And I
Yeah.
don't see why they can't achieve it at this point.
No, I don't either. And then yeah, the Professor Rotclaw, Sure seems like an interesting lead into perhaps the Dino Hunters subline too.
Uh, I swear to God, if we get Dino Hunter versions of Ambush and Lowlight in the classified line, I will throw a party and possibly crap myself at the same time. Out of sheer shock because,
I could see
and you know
that.
what?
I could see that set. I could see them doing a uh HasLab where it comes with a dinosaur, the the vehicle, and then two figures, and then some ancillary stuff. I could see them doing a HasLab for that.
That would be a HasLab that I think I would need to pull off the boot, the tighten the bootstraps and get. Because when it comes to the GI Joe toy line, I love a lot of sci-fi. I love pulp adventure stuff. I love all of that stuff in my GI. Frankly, I don't see enough sci-fi stuff in my GI Joe, but it's a little bit like when I didn't have the Dino Hunters when I was a kid. I didn't know that existed
I didn't either.
till later. But the fact that they've gone and added dinosaurs back into the line via classified, I'm like, they might as well have designed this for me. Sci-fi, GI Joe, dinosaurs, all in one. I
Yeah,
need, I need. Um, that figure looks awesome.
it does. It does look pretty cool. The other figure that was announced at uh well, I think it was announced previously, but they showed the final packaging and it hit the stores the next week was the Royal Guard for Cobra Law. And man, that is a fantastic looking figure. It's a deluxe figure. It comes with several different heads, two different helmets, a ton of gear, wings. I mean, they just went all out on it, and it looks fantastic.
It looks awesome. Last weekend, I saw pictures of a bunch of people going to Target, finding those, coming home like shopping basket full of Cobra Law. I laugh because, like so many other concepts that they've classified, that for the number of the number of characters and concepts from the original line that people shit on back then, but now they turn around and make really cool versions and classified so they sell out.
Yeah.
It has me shaking my head because once again, the Royal Guards, which I mean they were cool figures then, if you like Cobra Law, and the new figures are holy shit, amazing updates.
Yeah.
But I just crack up because 10 years ago, people were still shitting on Cobra Law and Ninja Force and all that. And I'm like, now those are the ones that sell out.
Yeah. And that was what I was going to say is that somebody had said that peg warming at a Target near you soon, and I almost replied, I don't think so, because if
I
you
doubt it.
none
I
of the Cobra Law stuff, you cannot get any Cobra Law stuff. You cannot get a Serpentor, you cannot get a once a man Cobra Commander, you cannot get Pythona, you cannot get Nemesis Immortal or Enforcer, whatever you want to call him. None of those figures are available for a reasonable price on the secondary market.
no, they sold out. They sold out immediately from all the online retailers. They're all price jacked on eBay. You can't get them easily. The Royal Guards, now that's an army builder. They're going to be even harder to get because people are going to buy a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then when they come out with Galopulus, you're not going to be able to get him either. So, as one of the kids who liked Cobra Law when I was a kid, I I've chosen not to buy the new ones for two reasons. One, I don't they are hard to get. But two, I'm just at that I'm not going to get them simply because they don't I don't at I can't believe the number of care like even if I wanted to get them, I mean, I chose not to get them simply because I didn't want to spend the money on them. But even if I hadn't, the choice was taken away from me due to availability. And
And
I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, the Royal Guards are going to be even harder to get than the rest of the Cobra Law stuff. And this is from a toy line that when we grew up, when we got on the internet, you found out nobody liked Cobra Law, and you would never know it from the classified line. Because all these crazy characters, Crystal Ball, that nobody liked when we were growing up, except me. And I'm like, they don't. And now, Crystal Ball is getting his own Eldritch Night Creepers. That's
Oh yeah,
another exclusive for Walmart, but
yeah. I was gonna mention.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think it looks fantastic. For me, I see a lot of people complain about Cobra Law stuff, and then there's the people that really like it that grew up with the 1989 movie. I grew up with both. I grew up with the comic book and I grew up with the movie. So for me, those two are like a divergent universe. So
Yeah,
both exist simultaneously. So I can like both of them. I didn't have the Cobra Law figures when I was a kid because they came in a three pack and I just like I couldn't afford a three pack of figures. I could get one figure at a time basically, and that was it. And I don't remember it being widely available. It seems like I saw it in the store maybe a couple of times and then it just never saw it again. Um, but I always wanted the Royal Guard figure. And I don't have the vintage one in my collection yet. It's on the
what you don't have a vintage Royal Guard?
I don't.
Oh, I'm
It's
surprised by that. I thought for sure you did.
no, it's on the list that my want to buy list. I do have the Super 7 one, and I do have the pre-order for the classified one on through Big Bad Toy Store, which I was going to mention. The pre-order for that keeps selling out on Big Bad Toy Store, and you don't see that very often.
No, no, you don't. So for a for an offshoot line of GI Joe that has always had at best a mixed reaction, and really the unfavorable was much more prominent than the favorable. They just, I guess, if you make cool toys out of weird concepts, I guess people will go back and give it another chance. Because I had the Cobra Law 3 pack when I was a kid. I was annoyed that there was no Python when I was a kid. But I just they look the ones Hasbro, they look so good. They're really just. I mean, it helps that IDW or no, excuse me, that the Image Skybound universe of Energon has used Cobra Law, and that's where they're taking like all the deluxe accessories with the Royal Guard, like the alternate helmet and the wings. Those are from those comics. But I love that they satisfy both the vintage Royal Guard and the updated version.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see comic characters brought into the toy line, whether they existed in the toy line before or not. I love the fact that they brought them into the comics
Yeah.
and that the new toys are reflecting that. Oh, speaking of comic characters that finally got classified figures, it only took 6 years, but Don Moreno Snake Eyes from the
Oh,
comics
yes.
finally getting a figure, and you and I both pre-ordered it. In
Yep.
fact, you got two because you got to make a Storm Shadow custom,
Yep.
the Don Moreno Storm Shadow, just like you did in the 4-inch line. But I just I saw that announcement and I'm like, oh my God, finally, because she was on our wish list a couple of years ago. And I
Sure.
thought for sure, I knew I knew that Classified eventually would get around to her. I was a little surprised that it did. There was a part of me that was afraid, man, maybe they wouldn't, but I'm like, no, it's like leaving money on the table if they don't. So they did. And holy shit, does that figure look good?
It does. It does look pretty good. And I was hope I'm looking I was gonna say I was hoping it was gonna be out before Denver Comic Con because Jamie Kindell is here every year. But I don't think we're going to go to Denver Comic Con this year. So the
Yeah, you said the guests have been kind of shit, Dave.
They're
announced.
having it's a big Lord of the Rings reunion, and um Philadelphia Fan Expo is the same weekend, so they are having all of the guests at both conventions over the weekend.
How the fuck?
They're
How
going to
the
be
fuck?
they're going to be in Philadelphia for 2 days, and then they're going to be in Denver for a day. And
Wow,
it's
those people are gonna be tired as shit.
yeah,
Um,
like I want nothing to do with any of that. That sounds horrible. So yeah, the guest list for Denver Comic Con is nobody that either Emily or I are want to see. So we are talking about going to a convention out of state this year, and we're
um,
debating.
not Niagara Falls Comic Con up on the Canadian side happens every June. Every year I look at the guest list. I'm like, but then I'm like, I don't know. I don't. Um, I, but this year, I found out that a couple of my cousins are going. There's going to be some people from 90210, which I never watched, but my cousin Kelly wants all the autographs of those people, and I some of the other guests look pretty good, so I'm going to go with them. Geraldo Rivera is going to be there, and I will be honest, when I saw that announcement, I'm like, well, firstly, I didn't know he was still alive. In fact, I honestly thought he died a few years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing is, I think I'm going to make a custom of Hector Ramirez, but I'm going to tell him it's Geraldo Rivera, and I'm going to or I'm going to ask him if he'll sign Hector Ramirez's name. Because
Yeah.
there's no doubt that character was based on Geraldo Rivera, but it's kind of one of those. If you get other people to go to the convention, it's more exciting to go anyways. Even if more motivating to go anyways. So I'm gonna go. I don't know if we get autographs or not, but it does look like fun. I love the Lord of the Rings stuff, but I do not feel any need to get autographs from any of those people, and
Well, and
they're
then
going to be mobbed. Even if you wanted those autographs, you're not going to be able to get near those people to get autographs.
what annoys me is they have all been here previously. All
Okay.
John Rhys Davis is here again for the second year in a row, which somebody's like, "Oh, I sure hope they invite him." And I'm like, "He was here last year. There's no way he'll be here this year." I was wrong. Um,
Must
so
have had fun.
uh, Orlando Bloom's gonna be here for a day. I think I saw the uh, autograph, and I saw somebody comment that the autograph and photo op together was $500 for Orlando Bloom.
What?
Yeah,
$500 for an autograph and a picture?
yeah, and it's
That would be reasonable if it was all four hobbits
yeah.
with a photo, like all four
No,
hobbits
no,
and
it wouldn't.
Legolas. Maybe.
No, I don't think that it would. Uh,
You don't think?
if it was all five people, $500 might be reasonable for a
But
photo op and each autograph. But
yeah,
for
then
one person,
but one of those people, fuck no.
no.
Um, no, he's just an actor for God's sake.
Yeah.
Um, oh God,
Yeah.
no,
So
what the?
yeah, this we are definitely not going to Denver Comic Con this year. So um
That's a big change for you because
it is because last year we had decided to get normally we stay with my in-laws up in Denver. So we take the light, we drive about 10 minutes from the house, from their house, get on the light rail. It drops us off at the convention center right out front, and we walk right inside. Um, Last year, we decided to get a hotel room about a block away and have a total vacation from everybody, including the dogs. And it was fantastic. We had a blast because we could go across the street, go to the convention, go back to the hotel, go get something to eat. There was a Starbucks real close by, so we could have coffee, and it was fantastic. And we're like, this is how we're gonna do it next year. Next year's here, and there is zero people we want to see. And while that is
Um,
not the only reason to go to a convention, it's a big, I hate to admit it, it's a big part of what I do now is get
well,
my
the conventions, they're not super cheap to get into. So
right.
if there isn't anybody in particular that you're going to try to meet, if you're really just going in to look around or shop or browse, it's a high price to
Yeah,
get in just to be pushed around and stuck in a crowd if you're not going to get autographs. So, and
yeah,
that's okay. I mean, I go to convention and I don't meet people. I don't meet the guests all the time, but for the cost of it, you're right. They get it. You'd rather have somebody there that you want to meet.
yeah.
I did look at the Niagara Falls Comic Con Facebook page. Bobcat Goldthwait, Steve Gutenberg, Tim Kaczynski, and Michael Winslow from Police Academy are all going to be there. Yeah, Zed, Mahoney, Sweet Chuck, and Jones are going to be there. And I want to meet Michael Winslow. My sister met him a few years ago, and he just, he makes all the noises. And I'm like, I just, I want him to, like, I'd like to talk to him. He'd be awesome to talk to. But I mean, it's kind of one of those, some people from Twilight are going to be there. Some people from Full House are going to be there. David Arquette is going to be there. Dennis Rodman. I didn't know Dennis Rodman was still floating around, but apparently he is. He's going to be a guest there. Um,
I saw that he's not coming here this year, but William Shatner is still doing conventions.
yeah, he's 94.
He's 94 and he is
God bless his energy because holy shit. Oh, did you see that William Shatner is going to be doing a heavy metal
yeah.
music album?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like
My only
Christopher
hope
Lee did that a
my only
couple of
hope
years.
that is that uh William Shatner is doing it because he wants to and not because of what happened to Stan Lee, where he had people making him go and he was so altered due to dementia, he didn't know he couldn't say no, basically.
I have seen interviews with William Shatner recently, and he does seem to have his faculties. So hopefully, it's something that he wants to do. I do think he's making the music because it's something he wants to do. Christopher Lee did the same thing a
Yeah,
couple years before he died.
he did. Yeah,
But like he made a heavy metal Christmas album. So I'm like, what is a heavy metal album from The Shat gonna sound like? I am admittedly very curious about this.
all right, so I think that pretty much covers all of the Toy Fair stuff. We're a little late on this episode. It's just been kind of chaotic around here that we just didn't get an episode put together on the heels of Toy Fair. And again, I think a lot of it was just there's a lot of cool stuff, but the sticker shock this year is definitely affecting both of our
It
des-
is definitely going to cut down on even the number of classified figures that I buy because I'm just like, I can't keep up with all this.
and
I
I
don't.
don't know that I want to.
Well, I don't know. I don't. There's a lot of characters that I don't particularly need, anyways. But it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to get even choosier, and I really want them to put out a classified Flash. Damn it! Give me a classified Flash. I need a classified Flash um, hopefully before honestly next year because there's only two of the original 13 left. Damn it! But I don't. Yeah, the sticker shock. That's a perfect term for it. The prices on these, I'm just like, this is out of control, and it's not going to get any better. The prices 2 years from now, the prices will be even higher at that.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I saw people complaining about with the Monster Force figures is the price on those. And at this point in time, they're only $10 more than a classified figure is.
Well, and the fact is, Monster Force. is a much smaller line from a much smaller toy company
With
that's
the
all being done in house for
yeah,
one website. So
it's
I'm
also
honestly
higher.
kind of shocked that they're not more expensive than they are.
Yeah, and it's also a higher quality figure too. So anyway, on the heels of our last episode, where we had our guest Troy McKee to talk to us about Mask, um, JD has decided to look a little bit more into what Mask is and
I
decide.
did a deep dive into the cartoon to start with, and then I decided that I wanted to read some of the comics. And it turns out the DC comics, they're out there, but they're not plentiful on the secondary market. They're a little expensive when you can find them, but a lot of times you can only find like one episode or one issue, two issues. I did find a deal where it was like issues 2, 3, and 4, but I
It's
might get
this weird
those.
thing. It it doesn't number one, it doesn't surprise me that they're hard to find. There it was not a very big print run. It never, I'm pretty sure it, as far as I know, it never got reprinted and it
Has
never,
never been collected into a graphic novel.
and that was my next thing is I was not sure, but I would have guessed that it would have been, but it has not been put into a graphic novel, which really does surprise me.
I went to the closest local comic shop I have is a couple of towns away, but I went last weekend and I asked, "Do you have the comics for Mobile Armor Strike Command?" He said, "No." I said, "Not the DC series, because I don't expect you to have those." I was like, "What about the IDW series from like 10 years ago?" He's like, "Nope." He said, "We don't have any of those either." He said, "We're buying another collection from somebody that may have some of that stuff." And I'm like, okay, so even the more recent stuff, I can't find the comics of. So I will get them at some point because I very much want to read them. But
Yeah.
having watched numerous history of mask YouTube videos and watching the first 15 or 16 episodes of the mask cartoon, I have successfully dipped my toe into Mask and come away a brand new fan. 40 years late, better than nothing. So
And as I've been saying all along, I've just been really surprised that JD has not been a fan of Mask all this time because of just how well the so Troy and I kind of like I didn't think the cartoon aged well, and Troy challenged me to go back and look at it again, and Troy was right. It's like, okay, you know what? I tried to watch Mask after I had just finished watching the entire run of Dungeons and Dragons, and that did age extremely well. If you want a good cartoon to watch, go watch the old days Dungeons and Dragons series. It's phenomenal. Um, it aged well. It's very enjoyable. Good characterizations. Everything about it is fantastic. I tried to watch Mask on the heels of that, and well, I having gone back and looked at it through a different lens, it's like, okay, you know what? It didn't age poorly. It just wasn't as good as what Dungeons and Dragons was. So that was the comparison that I was making. And that was not a fair comparison. But with that being said, the toy line was amazing. The what the toys did was hadn't been done before and hasn't been done.
hasn't been done since. Not certainly not to that level. Not with that kind of variety.
The
Because when I looked into
closest you can get to it is Transformers. And that's a pretty rough comparison in and of itself. But the toy line, Troy mentioned how much marketing stuff was out there. So I all this time, I've really kind of been surprised that JD was not a bigger fan or a fan in any way, shape, or form of Mask. So that's one of the reasons that we had Troy on was to really do a deep dive of Mask. And honestly, I don't know a bigger fan of Mask than Troy.
Oh, he was exactly the guest we needed to have on for that show because look at all that European release stuff. You didn't know about any of that. So,
No.
um, and so
Well, I
what
knew
I've come away
European
with
stuff. I knew
is,
the European stuff. I didn't know about the South American stuff.
oh yeah, 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 that's right. Yeah, that was all. You're all like, holy shit, like mind melting.
Yeah.
Um,
Did not know about any of the, and that's why we had Marcus on to do Masters of the Universe. It's like I don't know a bigger fan of Masters of the Universe than Marcus. And
boy,
uh so that's, we do when we talk about toy lines that we have a, like, I'll say a glancing interest in. I had some Mask stuff. I loved it. I loved the cartoon, had the comic books. I know all the vehicles. I know most of the characters. I know most of the masks, but it's like I don't have any of the vintage stuff. We need a subject matter expert for that show. So that's what we did. We got a subject matter expert for that show.
well, and he succeeded in telling me just enough about it. Oh, you know what really tipped my interest towards it was when he said that in the cartoon you always see the mask operators at their day jobs or their usual careers, and then their little watch beeps, and then they're like, oh, they drop whatever they're doing, and they got to go do the mask mission. And it was one of those things where I didn't remember ever watching the show when I was a kid because I'm not sure if it aired where we were living, but that would have been one of those things had I watched it that would have made me, huh, maybe take a second look. But when I started watching the cartoon, I will be honest, the reservations I had were about mostly about T-Bob and Scott. I wasn't really sure, and I wasn't sure if because Troy had mentioned that a lot of the cartoons we grew up on were from Sunbow or Filmation or some, but there's always jokes about the animation studio of Deke because of the last couple seasons of GI Joe were done by. But
Yeah.
so when I went in, I was like, oh, is this going to be more akin to the GI Joe stuff? Or no, it's not. I would say it's very much along the lines of the Sunbow
Yeah.
Transformers and GI Joe stuff. Having watched when I started, I there were a few things that I did vaguely recognize the theme song, but I think that's probably from pop culture osmosis over the years,
Oh yeah.
but without absorbing any of the rest of that. But having watched having taken in what little I've taken in so far, and I've only scratched the surface, I would like to share some of my thoughts on it, but in order to be organized about it, I told Brian to get some questions ready so I could. So, do you want to?
Yeah.
Um,
So what do you think about Mask now?
I think the concept is amazing, and it's one that I actually kind of wish that I had given a better chance to when I was a kid. The only thing I could think is I only had access to the toys, probably didn't have access to the cartoon. I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's the case, but may not have been available. But honestly,
Definitely a possibility.
so far, what I've come up with is I'm actually really happy to finally be into it, even all these years later. And I, I want to take in more of it because I'm like it's a bigger property than I ever realized too. Because even as part of the online toy community for 30 years now, I don't I knew it was out there. I knew it was one of the big 80s nostalgic properties, but I didn't actually realize how big a property it was. And I'm like, okay, because I only had the basic knowledge of it, and really that basic knowledge basically was the first series of the toys, and that's really I didn't realize that there was so much of it. But honestly, I'm liking it so far. At first in the cartoon, I found the robot voice of the computer to be a little off-putting. I'm like, why does it sound even more robotic than the computer aboard the Enterprise in Star Trek? But now, the last episode I was watching today, I think it was the 15th episode, and I found that robot voice reading off all of the mask operators' names and talking about their vehicle they pilot and the
Skills.
yeah
I guess.
yeah and the skill set. I found the voice to be calming, and I'm like, okay, well that was a I'm like that was a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
But um I find the fact that we get to see them at their day jobs satisfying. I also find the fact that they don't reuse all the animation. Like they're always doing something different.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many of these characters were getting a ride someplace and their watch goes off and they just hop out of the car, like hop out of the taxi. I'm like, boy, they really don't waste any time.
Yeah.
Brad Turner has broken at least two instruments so far because his mask goes off, scares him, and the guitar string breaks. And he has to leave the band practice. I'm like, wow, his band must be like, dude, this guy is seriously inconsistent. Um,
Right.
um, I, I, I think I have a crush on Gloria Baker, but how could you not? Seriously. I'm not even at the point yet where she has her what is the white car that she's got that turns into the submarine?
Shark.
Shark. Yeah. It's not even in the series yet. She's currently the like the co-pilot in with what Dusty Hayes' vehicle.
Sure.
The Gator? Is that it? Okay, she's the co-pilot of that right now, but I'm like, they look like they have fun just off-roading in that thing. And I love the little boat that pops out of it. I love that. But I think and T Bob and Scott, they're not all annoying. I'm not even a little bit annoyed by them. And I'm delighted by that because sometimes kids in a cartoon can be a little but
Yeah.
yeah, their shenanigans. Sometimes I find it amusing, and I find the cynical outlook that T Bob has on the world. I can identify with that. I'm like, I love a cynical, grumpy robot. Um,
I think one of the things that made the like Scott and T-Bob palatable for me was as a kid was because I was probably about that age and I'm like, you know what? If my dad was Matt Tracker and he was going off all the time, I sure as fuck would be trying to sneak on that mission too. I'd be
yeah,
doing
they get
the
themselves
same
in trouble.
goddamn thing.
Yeah, like they get into trouble, but it's not obnoxious. It
No.
isn't. It's usually an accident because
Yeah.
wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Because really, it's a trope in television. If you tell somebody to stay in the car, they're not going to stay in the car. He tells Scott and T Bob, stay here. They're not going to stay there. Occasionally, they do stay back, and that's good. But like when they're on the mission and they're gonna they're going to get into some shenanigans, but I do not find them to be irritating because it's only like one of every third or fourth episode that sometimes they're not even there. But it's only the every third or fourth episode that they wind up getting into a situation. But really, Mask themselves, they get themselves into situations too. Miles Mayhem is more tolerant of his underlings than most of the bad guys in the 80s cartoons we see because Cobra Commander does not suffer the Cobra minions at all. Like he had no patience for them at all. Megatron has patience for, well, not much, especially not Starscream. But Miles May, he is much more tolerant of when they fail than the other leaders are. So I'm like, morale must be higher in Venom than it is in most of these other criminal organizations.
Yeah. All right. So in your opinion, what is the best mask vehicle?
I think
What is your favorite one?
uh on the bad guy side, I can't remember all the vehicle names, but I can remember most of the drivers. Dagger's vehicle that has a little pop-up gun station. I can't remember what that one is, but I'm
That's
like
the
that.
jackhammer.
The jackhammer. Okay, so that is my favorite bad guy vehicle. I love all the features. I love the gun turret. I love the. You remember the Cobra, the Rise of Cobra Steel Crusher Humvee that they put out in that toy line? That is what the jackhammer kind of reminds me of,
That
and I kind of wish.
there is a rumor going around that that vehicle is an homage to the jackhammer.
Well, that makes sense because honestly, I'm like, this is cool, and I wish that Steel Crusher had the gun emplacement on the top. I'm like, I think that would have sold through. People would have gone nuts for that.
Yeah. A lot of people
I
bought it
do.
just because of that that was the closest thing to a 1/18 scale
Oh,
jackhammer.
that does make sense because I'm like, there is definitely they definitely had the same energy there. Um,
My
I
understanding is that was not a mistake. That is
Yeah,
not.
no, you're right. It's I don't think it was a coincidence, and it if it works, it works. I will say my favorite one to watch transform in the cartoon is the Switchblade. Something about it turning from jet into helicopter and from helicopter back into the jet. Every time they show that animation, I'm like, that is so fucking cool looking.
All right.
Um,
So favorite vehicle is jackhammer. Who was your favorite character so far?
well, I will add on the other side, my favorite good guy vehicle is the Rhino,
Ah, yes.
but I like the Firecracker too. Like that, it's like a heavy duty Jeep, and I'm like, yeah, I could see Clutch stealing this thing for a
The
joyride.
firecracker is truck.
Or the truck, yeah, excuse me. I could see Cross Country and Clutch stealing that thing and going for a joyride. Um, I really and Hondo McLean, he's the driver of that one, right? I really like him, but I really wish him and Alex Sector, I wish their masks were
Full
fully
face.
covered, like all the rest of the because he just basically has Steelers night vision apparatus. And I'm like, it's underwhelming. And then Alex Sector having the open mouth, and I can see the beard coming out of the mask. I'm like, I kind of wish they were full because I love all the other designs of all the other masks. I can't remember them all, but Bruce Sato is one of my favorite characters. I because he's the Rhino operator. I love his little Zen sayings that usually it's usually something to do with the mission, and he puts it in like metaphorical terms. And the running joke is that nobody really understands what he's getting at except Matt Tracker,
Yep.
especially Dusty.
Yeah.
I know he's like the corn pone hick, but I'm like, dude, just listen just a little bit. You'll get it. I promise you'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bruce is interesting. I like Alex. I like that he's for a character that's real tech knowledge. In fact, in the comics, I think his nickname is Microchip or
Some
Micro.
something like that.
Wait, but what was it?
I don't remember.
Okay, yeah, but it's something technical. But as a job, he owns a pet store, and anytime in the cartoon we see him get called up, he's got a different animal that he's tending to or helping somebody with, and then he's got to go on it. So I'm like, I like his, I like the depth the characters have. Um,
It's something you
so
see a very lot in a like toy line cartoon property.
yeah, that's true. There is that I do actually feel like these characters are consistently portrayed, which is good, which
Yes.
is nice too. Because they don't these episodes don't feel like they're making it up as they go, and I'm really happy about that. Um, I do, I do, I do appreciate most of their plans more than the plans of Cobra Commander, which are much more bite up. They're definitely closer to. They bit off way more they could chew. Venom, if they just had slightly better luck or Mask was slightly slower or less competent, I think Venom would get away with some of the stuff because the plans are actually conceivable.
Yeah.
Except maybe the meteor from the first episode that was a little sketchy. But Um, I enjoy the adventures that the teams go on, and I enjoy that it's not always the same lineup. There's some
Yes.
variety, and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to watching some of the later cartoons where some of the later release figures introduced in the line will also come in, so it'll be even bigger character variety,
Yeah.
and I actually really appreciate that. Um, Wish I could remember all the vehicles' names, but I'm getting there. I have most of the drivers memorized, and a lot of the names of their masks are really cool. I like all the abilities of them.
Yeah.
My favorite mask is Brad Turner's that he calls Hocus Pocus. He can do the hologram thing with it. I'm like, all right, that is just a fucking cool feature. I love that feature. Um,
All right. If you were going to get a toy from that line, what would you get?
uh, I think it might be the Switchblade just so I could do the transforming thing in person too and not just enjoy watching it on the show. It really does. It 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 really does make me it did make me consider getting one of those loyal subject versions, but I'm like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Because the other thing is watching this line or watching a lot of YouTube videos about the line and seeing how many vehicles they actually released, the loyal subjects, they better have a 10-year plan in because at their rate they're moving with manufacturing and designing this stuff. If they're expecting to get through all the toys in the line or all the vehicles in at least the first line or two, they got a long way to go.
They do.
Um, but
And
yeah,
one of the things I was going to mention was loyal subjects had a presence at uh, Toy Fair. They did not have any mock-ups of the Wave 2 stuff, just further announcements of the vehicles that are going the vehicles that they showed are were vintage. Um, so the vehicles that are going to be in Wave 2, there still has not been a pre-order date for those yet. My understanding is that with all of the QC complaints that they had on the Wave 1 stuff, that they took Wave 2 back to um took it back in the production line um and are looking at QC issues in Wave 2 stuff.
well,
So
I'll say this: that's a good thing that they took the feedback in, and so they're going to put so the Wave 2 vehicles will be that much better. But that is not encouraging for the people that were waiting for these things. And the fact that they did not even have mock ups at Toy Fair, I feel like that's not encouraging for the wait time.
it's not uh I I think it's one of those things that the I don't think it will affect the line. The people that were going to buy this were going to buy it one way or the other.
Oh yeah, yeah, they have a built-in audience
Yeah.
that is going to buy these things.
So I think if it takes another 6 months to a year to get another wave out, I don't think they're going to be losing a significant client base based off of any delays because the people that would have bought this stuff anyone were going to buy it whenever it came out,
Well,
regardless.
and you're planning to buy them, so
Yeah.
do you mind waiting extra time for Wave Two to be good?
No.
All right, that's cool.
I
I
don't even
don't.
I don't mind waiting, period. Whether the I honestly did not have any. There were some minor flaws with the vehicles that I got,
Yeah,
but
you had very few issues with them.
like I said, this stuff that I thought was wrong was either stuff I could fix myself or stuff that was like I remember this being a problem on the vintage vehicle, and I'm not surprised that it 40 years later they weren't able to like like the doors on the Thunderhawk. Like, yeah, it's they should have used a stronger spring in there, and it's like this is what this is the toy that I had as a kid did the exact same thing. I it it hit the nostalgia button more than it hit the annoyance button for me. It's like this is what the toy did when I was a kid. It does it now. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't expect them to fix it. I didn't necessarily want them to fix it. Would it have been nice? Sure. Is it going to affect my enjoyment of the product? Absolutely not.
So are you so you're so no matter what, you're gonna be looking forward to the second series. I I
Yeah.
don't know that I would buy any of them, simply because I don't need another rabbit hole to go down with toy buying.
And
But
and
I am enjoying the masked rabbit hole that I've jumped down for the mythos of it,
yeah.
and I'm looking forward to more. Um, I really am glad that I'm giving this property a chance. There's something refreshing about jumping into something like this all these years later and actually being hooked by it, because
Yes.
I was kind of afraid that I'm like, is this going to be one of those things where I give it a try and it's really cool for a little while, but then I sort of forget, that I sort of go back to the usual things that I'm into. But I'm like, no, I'm sticking with exploring this thing. So
I
I'm pretty content with it. I did watch a video where they did show one of the original mass vehicles completely disassembled for restoration, and uh they didn't do the whole restoration. It was just a few pictures from what they it was part of a bigger video of stuff. I can't even remember what channel it was on, but I see what Troy meant, that if you want to restore the originals, you have to be mechanically inclined. I
yeah.
am not even a little bit mechanically inclined, but wow, yeah, that's lots of little pieces that you either have to replace or repair. And I'm like, it would be interesting to see if you ever got a vintage mask and you did a restoration like you've done on some Joe stuff. But I could see why you might not. Like at first, I was that might be kind of cool, but I'm like, after seeing all those little, I'm like, oh no, Brian's not going to do that. Fuck that.
No.
He's not doing that. Um,
It's like Troy said that there was one vehicle that the spring in it did something that a spring doesn't they don't normally use springs to do in how it moved and how it moved the parts. And he's like, you never would have thought to use a spring in that fashion. I don't remember what the example was, but yeah, the vehicles were insanely complex. And the fact that loyal subjects were able to make these, and they did not use vintage stuff. These are all from like brand new, like scratch built stuff that they did not use vintage parts for these. And it's yeah.
well, if they want to do later stuff too, I might consider buying the motorcycle Bullet. I really like that toy. I was looking at that toy and I'm like, it's part of the racing series. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is awesome. I think if I'd seen one of those when I was a kid, I might have had one too.
I really wanted that one and never could find it.
Did you have? I think they call it the not checkpoint. It's the collector. It's like a toll booth with the little arm that comes down,
Yeah, I
but
didn't.
the toll booth converts into like a little bunker, and there's a there's weapons that come out of like the safety bar, whatever you call it, the
Yeah.
black and yellow bar that comes. I'm like, it's it was cool when GI Joe did things like Checkpoint Alpha, which is it's like they're like gate guards, but that's
Yeah.
not something you'd normally see a toy of. And seeing something like that in mask, but it becomes this little armored bunker, I'm like, fuck me, that's cool.
Yeah.
They're very toyetic, but I really like what they like. Just, I mean, I'm obviously living vicariously through people who do have these things now, but I'm like, some of these things are really awesome. And this is going to be one of those things where when I go to toy conventions in the future, when I see the mask stuff, I'm not gonna gloss over it anymore. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna look at this stuff because some of this is just really fucking cool looking.
It really is. I mean, just I don't I think Troy felt that there was probably a couple weaker vehicles in the line, and he's probably right. But for the most part, I don't think there was a stinker in any of the lines. Some of the transformations were kind of weird and kind of like, but when you really get down to it, the all of the toys were fantastic on some level.
That is the impression I get because I don't remember which website it is, but it's got like full 360-degree turnarounds of all of the figures, all of the and all of the playsets and vehicles, and you can see just through those how elaborate some of these vehicles were. And I'm like, they really they had something special
They
on
really
their um I guess I guess there's something about coming into it 4 decades late is that there has been some nostalgic stuff over the years, but it's not a saturated market. It isn't like one of those things where I came around on and all of a sudden realized that I was that I had missed out on 30 years of, because there's only 10 years of stuff to go off of in that, and then almost nothing in the last 30 years.
even less
So
than that. I mean, this property had essentially four waves, and that was it. There have been no toys since, aside from the Ramen Toys Shark. Nobody has made nobody has made toys of this.
oh,
This
speaking of which, I did watch a video about the ramen toy shark, and apparently it's really cool for show, but the transformation, it leads to all kinds of quality problems, like the little wings pop out and the bumper completely separates off the vehicle. So I'm like, that's a bug, not a feature. So because it was retro blasting, I was watching that video on, and he said he's had to fix it multiple times. Now he just leaves it in his display stand, and it looks like part of the line, and he just doesn't touch it. So
yeah,
fair enough.
and it was
Um,
an expensive toy too. I don't know what it cost um when it came out, but it doesn't go for less than $300 now.
wow, oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Last
boy,
time I looked.
maybe ramen should go back and do a second run of that. I don't think they do that, and nor do I
I
think
don't
they
know.
would. But man, if you want to own a shark, I guess they'd have to do a second run for it to be reasonable. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, and this gives me a new appreciation because a couple of years ago you did a couple of masked characters, customs of them, and I like the customs because I like your work, but I didn't have any appreciation for the characters. And then I asked last weekend, I'm like, because I had gone and looked at the photos that you had done of, because you had what, Hondo,
Mhm.
uh,
Matt Tracker.
Dagger,
Yep.
yeah, and
Cliff Dagger. Uh,
yeah, and who, uh,
they're behind me. Hang on.
Bloody Hawks.
Yeah, I did Buddy
Yeah.
Hawks.
So last weekend I asked you which other characters you were planning to do because you have the masks for 5 or 6 other characters, and
I have the masks for Miles Mayhem. I have the masks for Slyrax. I have the mask for Bruce Sutto. I have the mask for um, Brad Turner. Uh, and theoretically, I have the mask for Alex Sector. I don't know where that mask is.
you
Uh,
have the custom done.
I do.
So if and when you find the mask, he will be fully masked. Um,
The head
yeah,
doesn't. That number one, it's the gung ho spy troops head, and holy shit, they put a lot of detail in that sculpt for such a shitty figure. That that head sculpt has phenomenal sculpting features in it. It's one of those figures that you see these guys take these crappy figures and they do like a realistic paint job on them, and they're like, the detail was there all along. It was in the sculpt. It just needed a better paint job to bring it out. When I did that to this head, I'm like, wow, that was a very nicely sculpted head on a shitty ass figure.
Because if I remember that figure right, it was one of those that had little short arms and little, like the real short torso,
Yep.
and then the
It
gangly
was
legs.
it was not a good figure, but the head sculpt was phenomenal. It's not quite what I want because he just has a goatee, doesn't have the full beard. And I'm debating whether or not I'm going to sculpt on the rest of the beard.
I was gonna say you should sculpt the rest of it on.
Yeah, I might.
But I don't. So you had his mask. I'm sure you'll find his mask at some point. But
Yeah, it's here somewhere. It's just like I tried to reorganize this room last year and it didn't happen how I wanted it to. I just I don't organize well, and then I get frustrated and then I hate it and then I stop working on it. So that's what happened.
well, you've had some. You said those masks, like the ones that you used for Dagger and Buddy Hawks and Hondo. You said you had those for like 10 years or more.
Probably more.
So
I
so
probably had those for probably closer to 15 years. Those are
so
all,
the other masks did they all come from the same place? So you've had them all for a long time.
yeah, so those are probably from Angel Forge, and some of those things went to Good to Go Customs at some point in time, and they put out some of them. So those I don't know the whole story behind those, but you can tell that they were somebody had hand sculpted this because the details are inconsistent and it's clearly not it's better than I could do, but it's not it is definitely like sub production quality. You can tell it's a custom.
You could tell that it wasn't 3D modeled and printed and then cast. Like it was definitely at the time somebody had to cobble these things together, probably fill in the sculpting, probably kit bash them together, and then cast them.
They were
Um,
sculpted. There's no kit bashing. These are sculpted from
so
scratch.
just fully okay, that's really well. The pictures I've seen for just being sculpted, they're really fucking detailed.
They're not
Um,
bad. They're not going to hold up over time. Um, that being said, I think it's probably just a matter of time before somebody gets that bee in their bonnet to start 3D printing stuff like this.
I
Uh,
was gonna ask if you had any compulsion to try to track down masks for Gloria Baker, Vanessa Warfield, or Floyd Malloy, or
there
any
aren't
of the
any.
missing.
There are some that are out there from like Angel Forge and
Yeah.
to go, but those are nobody has those anymore. If they
So
do, they're sitting in a fodder bin somewhere. Um,
so
I
basically, you're gonna make what you've got and hope that eventually somebody 3D prints masks for the rest of them, so you can make the rest.
and
Um,
I think that will happen, and I think it'll happen sooner rather than later because level 7, um, who does 3D printed figures, um, they did the Skeletor that I did recently.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
they're doing 3D printed bucks for a very reasonable price. Um, the they're on like cost wise, they're about what a Marauder blank figure costs.
Well, shit. Might as
Yeah.
well.
So I mean they're very reason. I used a
I was
couple.
gonna say they must be the business must be good then if he can keep the prices like that and keep adding more. Because you said they're doing Matt Track, right?
Yeah, they have a Matt Tracker figure coming out. It was supposed to come out at the beginning of this month, but I saw that he said he was taking it back to uh design to fix some flaws in it. So
Well, even if he doesn't do full figures for a lot of the characters, even if he or somebody else does the mask, you know what I think would be kind of cool? Did you ever see like the like miniatures of like football helmets, baseball helmets, like Star Wars helmets people make where it's like little helmets on stands? I'm I'm a little shocked that nobody's ever done that for the mask, just just the headgear, because there are some there are some wicked cool mask designs.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm particularly fond of Slyrax's. There's just something like it's very clearly scuba because you know his little motorcycle has a little sidecar that pops off and becomes a submarine. But I just as just an imposing helmet, it's really fucking cool. And like Miles, like imagine a little set of 3D printed um parts that you just even if you have to assemble them, but they're printed in different colors. Imagine having like Miles Venom's Miles Mayhem's helmet just sitting on a desk, or you know all of his minions. I they really I the imagery of those of that headgear is just so cool. Like they just I remember I was looking through an archive of just the animation stuff and just seeing the masks from different angles. I'm like, it's really cool. That was the other thing. When I started watching the cartoon at first, I was weirded out by the big apparatus that with the arms that brings the masks down. I was like, what in the hell is the deal with that? But then the more I watch it, the more I pay attention to it, the more I'm like, oh, this is like super high tech stuff. This is I'm like, boy, I wish I had machinery to help me get dressed like Tony Stark does. That's kind of what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh, all right, I see what they're doing. This is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the masks themselves, the designs, oh, they're so cool and so marketable. And it's
Yeah.
just weird. It's just not more out there from it.
And that's, that was one of the things that I had said at the beginning of the show, of our last show, was it surprised me how, number one, how big this property was, how big the following is, and the fact that nobody has touched it in the 40 years since it's been out. Aside from
It
the one vehicle from Ramen Toys, that's an aberrancy. And Loyal Subjects is the first one to touch this. And I mean, even the customizing community, there was some obviously some masks that got made. There were some heads that went with some of these, but the figures were so stylized that unless you had the sculpting skills to recreate the 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 uniforms, there wasn't a lot of face figures to make good versions of these figures. And that's I think that's why it really didn't take off that big in the customizing community. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a few customizers that have done mask figures, masks, and vehicles, but
yeah.
large,
Um,
it's you can probably count those people on one hand.
yeah. Yeah, because I that same mask website that I was looking at, they have a customizer spotlight, and there's three or four people listed that man they did most of the character lineups, and they're I mean they're all uniformly good stuff. The only one I can remember off the top of my head is Christopher Sizemore. He did like the whole first series of characters. I mean it's really good stuff, but I'm just I'm surprised that um yeah there hasn't been more in the custom world. And some of the masks they're really I'll give them this. There's such a big variety of designs there. Like some of them are real intricate. Like Bruce Otto's helmet lifter is really
Yeah.
like in different colors. It could actually be kind of scary looking. Gloria Baker's mask is in Aura. It's really cool. It's got this tubing thing that uh, that attaches to. Yeah, there's Bruce Otto's helmet. She's got this tubing, and it's really cool. I'm like, these are some really cool. I like just a line of 3D printed masks would just be awesome to see. I would actually consider getting those. Oh, sweet, you started the figure. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, looking good, looking good. It's almost like he's ready to start spouting poetry.
But yeah, I think this is one of those things that this is what 3D printing was meant for, in my opinion, for
Yeah, I feel like that
customers,
too.
because the it's hard to, like I said, unless you have the sculpting skills, and my sculpting skills are mediocre at best, some days better than others.
You hate sculpting.
It's not my favorite thing to do because I'm not good at it. Um, not like Dion and Dayton are. They can sculpt pretty much anything and have it come out look nice. My sculpting is pretty rough, and sometimes it comes out nice, sometimes it doesn't. Eh, there's no consistency. Um, but the uniforms for the figures are so iconic that you can't kit bash that stuff together because there aren't comparable parts. That's I've got a really nice head for Brad Turner. I've got the mask painted. Granted, I'm probably going to repaint that mask, because I've learned to paint yellow a lot better since I did that. So I'm going to probably reprimer it and redo it. Um, but I've not made the figure because there are not compatible, like
You would have to do a lot of sculpting.
there are not just I can't kit bash something together and paint it. And that's one of the reasons that I like Marauder figures, enjoy toy figures, is I can take pretty much anything and I can paint it. Painting is my thing, and I can paint it and make it look like anything I want. But I've got to have that base to start with. And the mask stuff is so iconic that it's really hard to do that.
Can't use generic modular parts and paint them and
No.
just think and like you can't use modular parts and just paint it in the mass colors and expect it to achieve it because
The
they have very
the
I
few
mean you don't have to do all the details, but you got to do enough of the details that it's recognizable beyond just the color scheme.
Yeah. And the few figures that I could do that with, I have done. Buddy Hawks and Hondo McLean were pretty much just wearing civilian clothes. So those were not particularly hard customs to do. The masks are what sells it. And but you get into like Bruce Seto, and it's like and Brad Turner, and it's like they're very iconic
Yeah,
uniforms.
Dusty's whole when he gets in uniform and he's got the vest and the blue jumpsuit and he's got one of the craziest designs for the mask and I love it. I don't remember what he calls it, but it's got this full
That's-
face shield and but it's like got an angle on it. It's
yeah,
really fucking cool looking. But
I think that's
yeah,
Backlash.
Backflash. That's its name.
Backlash.
Uh what's that?
Backlash.
Oh, backlash. All right. So actually, that makes more sense. Now that you say that, backlash. It's the whole uniform that goes with it, and the very distinctive helmet. You can't fake those details. You have to have a mask that looks like that, and you have to have really. You got to have a like a neat sci-fi body to start with to even attempt it. Because he doesn't. He's got one of the more sci-fi looks to his uniform, and um, yeah, it's pretty specific. So maybe someday you'll somebody will make the masks that you could use for the other characters,
And
but
this
don't
is
hold your breath.
yeah, this is a thing that if I had the 3D sculpting skills, this is one of the things that I would be doing with that. I would, because you can get the masks cheap on eBay by themselves, probably, um, and then 3D scan them and then work on them in a 3D modeling program and then print them. But that's all stuff that I don't know how to do, and I don't have the equipment or a 3D printer for that matter. But
Small details.
yeah, but I
Oh,
know people that do, and I know people that can 3D print. But if I knew how to do the computer the CAD stuff, the computer aided drafting stuff, that's what I would be doing. I would be designing 4-inch mask figures. But yeah, I think that's I think it's just a matter of time before somebody hits on that and starts doing it a little bit more than what we see now.
let's hope so. Because even if it's not something I buy, I want to see these customs come to reality. I did see the other day there was a picture on Facebook. I saw one of the groups. I don't know which one. Somebody's doing a classified scale slide racks, and I'm like, whoa. And I just sat there thinking to myself, boy, I hope he makes the rest of the characters.
Yeah. And I've seen people doing the and I'm sick to death of it, but I've seen people do the AI renders of them.
I'm so sick of seeing AI art I could spit.
Yeah.
Um, um, I don't. There's. It's so inauthentic that I'm just like I don't. My eye glosses over it. I don't give it a like. I don't. And honestly, if you're posting moving AI videos of your action figures, I'm not gonna look at your shit. That's the last thing I need to see from you. So just
Yeah.
saying.
No.
Um. Before we finish, you want me to unbox those things? I'll go grab them real
Yeah,
quick.
let's do that. Let's do an
All
unboxing
right.
of the Night Viper and Big Lob there.
Time for some unboxings. All right, Night Viper first.
Yeah.
I knew the answer to that, but you know, just checking. All right, let's see.
Sorry, it's work.
Well, straight out of the box, the most obvious thing is that the the exact color that the Night Viper was, that really dark teal color,
Yeah.
they captured it perfectly on this figure.
Nice.
It is exactly the color that I remember it being.
Oh yeah, look at that. That canary
And
forest green.
it's got the accurate patches.
Nice. The
Um,
one on his right is new. He only had the one on the left.
oh, okay. Wait, do I know the image from something else then? Or why does it feel familiar
I don't know. That's new.
then? I don't know, but it's really cool. Although, I don't know. So, I don't know who designed it or what it's supposed to be, but it looks a little bit like a crocodile eye, and that looks pretty cool. Um, Also, I'll mention the glossy black that they picked for the armor is really nice.
Hi, I heard you outside playing with your egg. Did you have a good time?
Oh, which puppy is it?
It's Alice.
Oh, hi, Alice. Oh, wait, the egg. Oh, yeah, it's her. Never mind.
I could hear her outside. Her egg's outside, so she has a little herding egg that she will chase around, and she barks incessantly while she herds it. So the neighbors probably heard it.
um, just remember when I was there 5 6 years ago when I was the Alice had the little there was a there was a bouncy ball or something that she'd bark and it would go in her little pool and she'd just bark at it and try to catch it with her teeth and while the other dogs avoided the pool like the plague.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I like this rifle.
It's not bad.
I think it's a nice update to the original. I'm glad it has a proper handle on it because the original didn't.
It did not.
Um, but I don't. I kind of wish they came with a submachine gun too of some sort. But it's fine for what it is. Yeah, so far, yeah, he looks. Yeah, I really like what they did with this. Um, and I thought that this might be a separate piece, but it's not. It's actually molded on there,
Ah.
which is good because. Oh no, I take that back. It's not. It was just stuck in place.
Ah.
Um, like it was so like I had to scrape at it with my fingernail, and that didn't do it. But then I put a little bit of pressure, and I'm like, all right, well now I'm gonna have to glue it. Because I usually glue the secondaries down, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I remember that was I just remember that was a detail that was on the original Night Viper, and I love that they recreated it here with the bullets around his bicep. Let me get the helmet out because I don't mind the balaclava head, but man, the Night Vipers without their without their full helmet and the monocular, it's just not a Night Viper. It's why whenever they did something different, like they did with the DTC version,
Yeah.
just
It
not
didn't
cool.
work. No. Uh-uh.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at that.
And a monocular that's not going to snap off. Uh, and if you take the monocular off, hang on, it's actually got a little red laser
Oh,
sight.
nice.
Yeah. So, and then it just snaps back on, but it takes a lot to snap it off. So, um, yeah, I don't think it's going to break though. So that's good because how many vintage Night Vipers do you find on eBay? And it's just a broken piece.
It's the Night Viper is the hard one to get because the pegs on the helmet and the peg on the visor break.
Yeah. Oh, and the peg on
Play
the
too.
peg where the rifle attached to his leg. In
Yeah.
this case, he's just got a holster on that side.
Ah.
But all right, so full faceplate down,
No.
badass, just like the Night Viper should be.
Sweet.
Uh,
I cannot wait to get well, I mean, I say I can't wait to get mine. I can wait, but I don't want to.
Basically, if you can find one at a store before that, you should definitely treat yourself to one early. Because
I
and
will.
and even though I think the Night Vipers are amazing, it's not a favorite of mine. But speaking as somebody who's known you for as long as I have, I do think that when you get this figure in your hand, you are going to think it was worth the 6 year wait to get a Night Viper in classified. Because I don't really see where they could have done anything differently to make it better because his figure is really fucking cool.
Does it come with a backpack?
Yes, yes, it's got the dual antennas just like the vintage version, and they are also not going to snap off. Um,
Nice.
and here, let's see how it fits in the backpack hole since that's an inconsistency that the classified line has. And
I've not had any problem with mine, but yeah.
and it's got a long enough peg that it sits in there just fine, and it's not going to fall out. It's not floppy at all.
Ah,
Uh,
good.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I am looking forward to getting that.
All right, so classified Night Viper. I don't need more than one, but I understand people's compulsion to want a couple of them. Like have these guys out on patrol, and
I think I bought four of them.
um, well, I'm not really surprised. You're a giant nerd, and it is your favorite figure,
Yeah,
and you have impulse control
yeah,
issues. So,
yeah. I I
um,
I have every version of the Night Viper that they've ever made, which is
I'm just
not very many. Um,
well,
but
You
I
should
also
specify that at least one of the Night Vipers will probably be customized. So,
I am
um,
going to save one for a custom if they do the rest of the figures.
which probably will. Only got two of them waiting for the
No,
Operation
there's
Moth.
yeah, I guess it is. I guess it's just the Black Viper and the Ice Viper, isn't it?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, that's all you're waiting on. Yeah, and the rest of Operation Flaming Moth has been done. So you
Yeah, I guess
could do a Ice Viper. I think you could piece together, but not so much. The Flak Viper has to be a new sculpt.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I prefer if the Ice Viper comes out and classified. I want a bunch of new parts. I do not want to see it just be a repaint because the Ice Vipers were distinctive enough that they they never got repainted as anybody else.
Right.
So they're pretty specific. But yeah, I think uh, yeah, if and when they do a classified Ice Viper, I hope it's at least the details like the fur, the overlays, the holsters. I hope all of that shit is unique.
I do too.
It's okay if they use a generic underbody as
Yeah.
long as they get the details specific enough for the Ice Viper. But the Flak Viper has to be all new, or at least 90% new. Um,
Yeah, I think it needs to be all new, and I think it needs to be something in the vein of uh how well they did uh Metalhead and Heavy Duty.
yes, I agree. Those two make me really eager to see Fast Draw and Repeater in this. Fast Draw with he'd probably have more missiles on his back, but they would come up with a new artillery rig that I know would be amazing.
Yeah, I
But
think
can you fucking just picture a classified steady cam machine gun that actually has moving parts and detachable parts that can adequately capture that can accurately capture what repeaters card art looked like with the steady cam machine. If they can do that in classified, people are going to go absolutely nuts. And I'm pretty sure it's only a matter of time before they do that in classified.
yeah, I would my guess is it's going to be within the next couple of years because
Um,
they're running out of figures from those years. So,
that is why I'm pretty sure Fast Draw has to be on the list somewhere. Spearhead, Hardball, they have to be on the list somewhere.
yeah.
Uh,
And Spearhead and Hardball, I don't think would be difficult figures to do. I mean, they definitely need original parts, but I don't think they're difficult parts to do. I think
no,
Fast Draw is gonna be like the Royal Guard. It's gonna have to be a complete new sculpt. It's gonna have to be a deluxe figure. It's gonna have to be a special thing. But
and
fast,
it's gonna and for that they would have to have repaint potential in mind. So they would already be planning to put him on probably a sub team or something. Um,
yeah, maybe.
um,
I don't know.
but they and Big Lob he is definitely the tallest classified figure. Here I'll stand him next to the Night Viper. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, he is
Right.
definitely the yeah. So um, he's a little bit taller than Tunnel Rat, which I mean they're all a little bit taller than Tunnel Rat, which is good because they didn't make him obnoxiously short in the classified line like they could have, and he's not super tall, but yeah, they do have the scale is accurate, and I'm happy about that. And I'm happy that he's completely new. In fact, look at his basketball shoes
Oh wow.
have the star and the three lines like the Joe logo, and
Sweet.
I love that.
That's pretty cool. That's a neat little detail.
Um, and the back of his has his file name Sanders,
Oh, sweet.
and and then he's got a holster for his grenade launcher on his bandolier. Um,
Nice.
so Uh, it's really nice to see him in classified. After I finally got a figure of him from the Reaction Plus Super 7 line last year, Now to have a classified version, which is something I was hoping that we would see. Now I'm very happy with this figure. He was worth the wait, and if I had the rest of the raw hides, even though it's one of my favorite scenes in the animated GI Joe, I don't have Law and I don't have Chuckles. But if and when they ever go back and do other versions of them, I will have them, and then I'll have those raw hides. But for now, I'm very satisfied to have Big Lob in the line. And
Well, I think that
Night Viper, it's really about fucking time.
yeah, it
Um,
really is.
but so yeah, worth the wait, worth the wait.
And that just gives me hope that they will continue doing. Obviously, they are with the Hydro Viper coming out here pretty soon. That they're going to finally start digging and working on those specialty Vipers.
Which is why I've got all the hope in the world for a Flak Viper because yeah, Hydro Viper. Oh, look at the knife Big Lob has.
Nice.
It's got a serrated edge and it's got the yeah, it's actually got like sculpting in the blade. It's cool. Um,
Wait.
I'm gonna guess with in universe, it's probably a custom piece the Big Lob carries. So,
Okay.
and he's got this automated grenade launcher. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's a new sculpt and it's not flimsy. It's not gummy. It
Uh,
feels like a GI Joe weapon should.
I don't know why they can't work. I get making it from a softer plastic so it doesn't become brittle in 40 years and break like all of like so many vintage weapons have. But at the same time, I mean, Gridiron's got it down. They can make stuff that's durable and rigid and doesn't break. I don't understand why Hasbro can't figure this out.
Well, the feel of this thing that Big Lob has, I yeah, it feels good. So if they can stick with this grade of plastic for the weapons, I think I think it'll be okay because I don't. It's not going to break, but it's not going to warp either. Um, and warped weapon, I would honestly prefer pieces snap off the weapon
Yeah.
than have them be gummy and they can't hold their shape. But that's not going to be a problem for the Night Viper's rifle because it's made of the
I was just
same
gonna
grade
ask.
of plastic. So it's not gummy, it's not warped, it's not like there's not even like a wave in it. No, it's a solid piece. And back of the rifle, the stock of the rifle is skinnier, but that is not going to snap either.
Ah,
So
excellent.
yeah, so no quality issues with these figures.
Sweet.
And so you've got the Night Viper in your pile of loot
Yes.
and the mole rat. What else did you? Because
Uh,
you didn't get Big Lob or Lifeline, right?
no, I was gonna wait for I was we'd had Tony on the show and we talked about all the stuff that we'd like to see them put with the figure, and we'd like to see more of a Pursuit of Cobra 30th anniversary version of Lifeline and updated gear and all of that stuff. And they went pretty much straight retro. And as a paramedic, it's not my favorite figure. It's like I get the bright red because it's more of a flight suit than it is a combat suit. But
The
I,
accessories still suck.
yeah, the accessories still suck. And it's just like, I will probably pick it up at some point in time, but I'm going to wait for it to go on clearance.
I do like this little handheld rocket launcher or grenade launcher he's got.
Let's see. I have Hit and Run, uh,
Oh, hit and run! I forgot about him. Okay,
Stage Two
I
Mole
didn't order
Rat.
him. I don't like that figure.
Uh, I love the figure from a kid, so it was one of my.
No, I love the original hit and run. I don't like the classified
Ah,
version.
fair
I
enough.
think they fumbled it.
So I've got Hit and Run. I've got Mole Rat, Night Viper. and that's it.
Um, um,
Those are the only ones I have in my pile of loot.
um. So you'll get them soon enough, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll be angry.
Yeah, I've got 18 days left before the oldest thing in my pile of loot has to ship.
So are you gonna wait 17 days and then ship it?
Uh, I don't.
Are you just waiting to see if anything else ships before
Yeah,
then?
there's
Ah, okay.
the next wave of Monster Force stuff is supposed to ship here pretty soon.
Oh, is that the Crimson Moon stuff?
It is.
Yeah, that there's some seriously fucking cool stuff in there.
Uh,
Um,
the the 118 scale boss fight Red Sonja's should be drop. Well, yeah, it should be dropping pretty soon. I've got two of those on order. I ordered one for myself and one for Emily. Um, yeah, and then yeah, the Crimson Moon stuff is supposed to drop next month sometime. So I think probably I'm gonna have to ship my stuff. Um, and then the Crimson Moon stuff will probably drop the week after I ship.
so they'll be starting a new pile of loot for you.
Yeah, because I think they said that they were expecting it the last week in March. So,
Oh damn! Right after the cutoff. So
yep. So, I will probably wait a couple more days, probably another week, and then just pull the trigger, and then whatever drops after that.
3 days later.
Because no,
Um,
I I'm pretty sure that. God damn it! I hate this fucking watch. Okay.
well, I hate that fucking watch too. I don't know what you're talking about, but I
Uh,
don't know how you wear watches. They annoy me. So that's what
I
I have a cell
have
phone for.
work bought me an Apple Watch, and I don't like it.
Ah, okay.
I pretty much have to wear it because it's part of my like safety. It has a panic button on it. And since I'm a like solo provider and on scene by myself, a lot of times I have to have uh more
All
than
right,
one
that's
safety thing.
that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Yeah. So I get it, but I don't like the watch. It's bigger than I normally wear and it I just bumping it and it does stupid shit and so it drives me crazy. I like my other Apple Watch, but I can't wear it because it doesn't have a panic button. So
Um,
or the fall detection. It's supposed to this has fall. Although I was fucking wearing it and fell on scene a couple weeks ago and it didn't set it off. So
damn it. Damn it.
I ate shit on some ice while I was working and it didn't. I'm like, well, that should have set off my watch. And I'm like, no, sure didn't. I'm like, well, fantastic. So
I mean,
uh
maybe.
but yeah, I think that's about all we got for this particular episode. We just wanted to
Yeah.
go over the announcements from Toy Fair. Um I think like we said that as enthusiastic as we are to see new product, we're not enthusiastic for the prices that the new products are coming out as. So it was kind of a mixed year, a mixed bag for us this year. There's a lot of stuff that looks fantastic, but it's almost not fun anymore because of how expensive it's become. I
Yeah.
think that
I
was
wish that wasn't the case, but it's
yeah,
definitely the case.
yeah. And then the QA QC stuff, problems with the loyal subjects stuff. So we're not sure when we'll see more mask stuff. Um, and I am going to put it out there that we may not. They may decide that they bit off more than they can chew, and they may not. They may just call it good with this. I would not be surprised to see them do that. I would hate to see them do that, but with as expensive as the stuff is, I could see them saying, "Hey, you know what? We can't make this happen." Um, I don't know. We'll see. I would like to be wrong about that. And then of course we wanted to talk about Mask, the vehicle the since we had Troy on for the last episode, and JD had gotten into the property. wanted to get JD's opinion on what he thought was cool about it. And then
Well, and I've got a couple of the mini comics that were
okay,
released with the Mattel figures.
yeah,
The first series of Mattel figures in the eight. I've got two of those on the way, so I'll at least get to read those. And then at some point, I'm going to play catch up with the rest of the Mask comics whenever I can. Like, it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of whenever I can get a hold of them.
yeah, and those it doesn't surprise me that the DC ones are hard to get a hold of because, like I said, I don't think it had a big print run to begin with.
It's
Um,
pretty obscure when it comes when you realize the sheer number of books and comics that DC published in the 80s. Not really surprised because a lot of the toy based ones were done by Marvel. So
yeah,
so the DC ones, yeah, they're harder to come by, but
yeah, and
I'll get them eventually. I will get them eventually.
I would have sworn that they were printed by Marvel, but Troy is right, they are DC. Because like JD said, most of the toy tie-ins were done by Marvel. Um, DC was kind of the outlier there. And those, honestly, growing up, those were the only DC comic books that I had. Were those four mask comic books, and I remember nothing about those. I don't remember what the art was like. I don't remember what the story was like. I remember nothing about those comic books, which I'm really disappointed that they didn't collect those in a graphic novel for you to go back and get, because I would probably pick up the graphic novel at this point if there was one. And again, it's one of those things that really surprises me that how prevalent this toy line was, how it's persisted over the years, but there really hasn't been any product since the original toys to support it. And yet here it is still. I
It's still, yeah, it persists because the number of because it does have a large fan base. And
it
oh,
does.
I was looking some of those European mask magazines because they always have like comic pages and stuff, and the long running series that some of those are on eBay, and I'm like, might have to see if I could get some of those for a reasonable price. I would like to see what they did with Mask on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting because I have absolutely no idea about that myself.
So if I can grab a couple of those reasonably, I'm going to do that too. And I'll keep the podcast updated as I keep exploring tasks. So,
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear what you think about some of the later characters, vehicles, and masks.
oh hey, my battery's running low. So the computer battery, not my own battery. I've got a couple hours left on that.
All right. So on that note, as always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks everybody.